Right, okay, let me share the screen. Right, there is a server. Yes. Right, now I just clicked OK. Right now let's try to create a one more new database. Right click, new database. See here, from that point I changed the model database values. If I change auto growth also, it will be okay affected for the newly created databases. If I change the default path of model database, it will be affected for the newly created. If I just selected okay instead of C drive, if I choose D drive, then for the newly after that moment, okay, once you just clicked OK, from that moment, if you are creating any new database, all the model databases changes will be applied on the newly created database. Whatever the values you are getting, all these values you are getting from the model database. Model will act as a template for the newly created database. Model will act as a template for the newly created database. I told you template means what? For example, you are driving, you are getting a call, you cannot answer that call, you will get a template. Okay, if you drop down that call, you can see one template: I am in driving, call you later. No need to type the whole message, I am in driving, call you later, so that you no need to call you later. No, I mean, like we cannot call later and all. Simply already predefined text will be there. Simply you will select the text, automatically that message will be gone to the particular recipient, those who are calling. Okay, so that's a template. Whenever you want, you can use it, a predefined template. The same way, model database also will act as a template for the newly created databases. The size, the auto growth, the path of the model database, okay, the values, the default values of the model database will be inherited to the newly created databases, guys. Okay, newly created database will always take model database as a role model, and it will try to inherit the properties of the model database. So that's why it's able to create all the it's able to create the database with all the default values, guys. Okay, now tell me, if my model is corrupted, can I start my SQL server? Yes or no? You can send message in the chat. If my model is corrupted, if master is corrupted, you know why it will, why we cannot start the SQL server, as all the metadata will be stored in the master, and all the logins information and all will be stored in the master. So if master is corrupted, you cannot start the SQL server. But if model is corrupted, can I start the SQL server, or I cannot start the SQL server? Just go for trial and error method. Inky pinky ponky also you can go. Right, so got only 12 responses. Let's see. Okay, answer is yes, 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 yes. Rajesh Babu, no. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Except Rajesh Babu, yes and no. Basha, there is no yes and no. Okay, either yes or no. Rajesh Babu, no. Okay. Yes, Rajesh. Why no? Any idea? Or Inky Pinky Ponky? Okay, done. Okay, right? No problem. So I'll explain you later. The answer is no. Okay, we cannot start the SQL server. The answer is no. Why we cannot start the SQL server? You can came to know while discussing other system databases also. Okay, right. Chalo. Next important system database is actually as per the order MSDB, then TempDB. Let's discuss about the MSDB. So MSDB is responsible for automation. MSDB is responsible for automation. Okay, automation means what? Creating the job. See, for example, okay, you can see here under SQL Server agent, you can see jobs. What is this job? If you ask me, There is a separate class on automation. Automation means, for example, you are maintaining 100 servers. Imagine 100 is very small count, guys, very very small count. I use it to maintain 7,000 servers. Okay, very big infrastructure. 100 is very small, right? So for each server, imagine 10 databases are there. For each server, imagine 10 databases are there. So total how many databases for 100 servers?
1,000.
1,000 databases. So as a security, I told you during my initial class, okay, it's our responsibility to save the data safely. Means safety should be there for your database. If there is no safety, there is no use of storing the data. Agree? Right? So safety, how can you provide safety? How can you achieve the safety? By taking the backups. Okay, if something like happened to the database, if you have database backup, you can restore the particular database, right? So how can you achieve? By taking the backups. So it's very common practice that will take backup for all the databases in the SQL server on all the instances. Will take backup of all. We should take the backup. We should take the backup of all the databases, small or big, useful or not useful, important or not important. That doesn't matter. If it is a database, means you have to take backup of that particular database. Okay, but 1,000 databases, you have to take backup of 1,000 databases every day. Is it possible manually? Can we do that?
No, sir.
Not
Yeah,
possible.
not possible. Very difficult thing. Imagine 1,000 database itself is not possible. If you are maintaining 1,000 servers, 1,000 into 10 databases, average I'm saying it might be 20 databases, 30 databases, 50 databases also. 1,000 into 10,000 databases. If I want to take backups of 10,000 databases daily, manually, it's not at all possible. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll automate the backups. What we'll do, we are going to automate the backups. How will automate? Using jobs. We'll create a job like alarm. You know the alarm, right? So for example, early morning 7 o'clock we have a class. Some people will woke up at 6:30, some people will woke up at 6 o'clock. Some people, they can't woke up during the weekend, so they will keep an alarm at least 6:45 or 6:50, 6:55. So that once 6:55, okay, you just put an alarm for 6:55. So once 6:55 like was come, then what happened, automatically your alarm will ring and you will get the sound and then you are able to woke up, right? So in the same way, you can schedule the backup jobs. If you schedule the backup jobs, okay, this job has to run daily at night 2 o'clock, then that job will invoke daily at night 2 o'clock, and inside that job means nothing but one backup script will be there. Backup job, I'm saying lot of jobs will be there. Backup job means backup script will be there, that will be executed as per the scheduled time. That's it, guys. How you are going to schedule your alarm at 6:55? Same way, you will have a backup script. I told you, right? Everything we can achieve with the help of the script. There is a backup script, backup database name to disk is equal to file name dot bak. Backup script will be there. This backup script, you are saying, hey, please run this backup script every day night 2 a.m. on all the databases. That is called automation. You're automating the backups. You're automating the backups. Means automatically the backups will run. No need to take the backups manually. That is automation. That's an example of automation. Like that we can achieve a lot of things. Okay, that's an example of automation. So this automation kind of stuff will be stored inside in your MSDB. All the automation related stuff will be stored inside your MSDB. Okay guys, is it clear? Automation, for automation purpose, Microsoft gave one system database that is called automation related stuff. Means if you create a job, imagine if you create a job, that job related information will be stored in the MSDB tables. MSDB will have tables. Okay, in the tables the job will be stored, the data will be stored. Okay, if you see here under system tables, you can see lot of tables, right? Under the system, if you see here backup tables and all, you can see backup file group, media family, media set, backup set. So all the backup information will be stored here, right? We have a separate feature called log shipping. All the log shipping, it is also an automation. all the log shipping information will be stored in the log shipping. Okay, so all the restore files will be stored in the restore tables. Like this, the metadata, sorry, the automation related data will be stored inside in your MSDB. So MSDB is responsible for handling automation related stuff, and we will have SSIS packages and all, guys, for integration services. Okay, it is going to integration means it will integrate the data from different sources, like from notepad to SQL server, from Excel sheet to SQL server, from Oracle to SQL server, from other database software to SQL server. That is called integration. That for that to achieve the integration, you should have SSIS packages. Okay, that is also an automation. That SSIS related information also will be stored in the MSDB. Okay, SSIS related information also will be stored in your MSDB, guys. Okay, that is your use of the MSDB. Now tell me, if my MSDB is corrupted, will my SQL server up and running, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir, running.
I need answer in the chat. Everyone. Right, okay, so let's see. No, Rajesh. Okay, if any DB is corrupted, your system won't be down. Okay, DBs, if databases are corrupted, your SQL server will be down. Depends upon the system, the type of the database. Okay, if any database is corrupted, your system won't be down. Okay, that's one thing I want to say, and the answer is yes, right? Most of the people said yes. Okay, so yes, the answer is yes. MSDB is not so critical database, but yes, it is responsible for automation. Okay, it is responsible for automation, but not so critical like master model and all. So in case if MSDB is corrupted, your server, your SQL server will be up and running. Guys, whenever I am referring server, server means it's a SQL server only. If it is a Windows server, I will tell you like a Windows server. Okay, whenever I am referring server means it's a SQL server only. Right. So MSDB is responsible for automation. If it is down or if it is corrupted, automation related things won't work properly, but your SQL server will be up and running, guys. Okay. Right. Fine. That is the use of the MSDB. Next is TempDB. TempDB is very important, guys. It's one more crucial database. Okay. Like a master, how master is important, TempDB is also important. Okay, so what data will be stored inside the tempdb? Why the name of the database is tempdb? Temp means, you know, right? Temporary. Why? So tempdb, what actually it will do is it will process your data, guys. Tempdb actually process your data. In the last night we just checked, if I want to pull only employees, those who are getting salary 40,000 or more than 40,000. So we just write a where condition. Okay. How it just pulled all the data? How it pulled that one record or two records? That is called processing, right? That processing will be done in the tempdb. That processing will be done in the tempdb. So like how RAM is important for your laptop, usually, okay, RAM is very important. It will process, it won't process the data, it will store the data temporarily at least. CPU will process the data, but in the SQL server, RAM will act as a, okay, CPU. It is going to process the data. Whatever data you are giving, it is going to process. If you are using any vary conditions or if you are filtering the data in a separate way and all the data processing will be done in the tempdb, guys. It's how CPU is important. The same way your TempDB is also important, guys. If there is no CPU, you cannot start your SQL server. If there is no TempDB, you cannot start your SQL server. Why? Because where is the data process? Data processing will be done. In which location it will be done? At least for every transaction, it will process some data. If the TempDB is not accessible, the TempDB is corrupted, the TempDB is deleted, you cannot work with the SQL server. SQL server will be down. It won't work. Okay, that much crucial database is your TempDB. Again, all the data will be processed in your TempDB. Okay, so all the unsorted data will be there. The unsorted data will be processed and it will be converted as a sorted data that will be done in the TempDB. TempDB is a temporary database. Why the name is TempDB? It will store the data temporarily until the processing is done. Till that moment only it will store the data. Once the processing is completed, it will delete the data from the TempDB. But master model MSDB, it's not like that. It will keep storing the data permanently until you delete it manually. Whereas TempDB, until the processing is done, imagine it has to process data from different tables. It will pull all the data from different tables. It will execute the command, whatever the request, whatever the user is requested, it will execute. It will process the data and all. Finally, once the user is satisfied with the results, then once the user is committed, then the data will be deleted from your TempDB. So TempDB can't store the data permanently. It will only store the data temporarily. And your master model MSDB don't deal with user data, but your TempDB will process the user data. And one more important point is there with the TempDB is whenever you restart the SQL server, a new TempDB will be created, guys. Whenever you restart the SQL server, a new TempDB will be created. Always remember this thing. Whenever you restart the SQL server, a fresh new TempDB will be created. Master model MSDB, they will exist, as per the last outcome or whatever last scenario, but MDB is not like that. Every time you restart the SQL server, okay, if you don't believe me, let me show you. Okay, when the if you see here, when it was created, when this template is created
Today.
today,
Today's
and if you see master model
April 8th.
long,
Yeah.
MSDB
Long back.
and other
long
use,
back.
yeah, and user databases yesterday's date, but
Yesterday.
MDB, whenever,
Latest.
yes, okay. So if you want to see when exactly it was created, go to the properties of the TempDB. There you can see when exactly it was created. See here, means at 7:13:03 a.m. means I just started my SQL server at 7:13. This is how you can easily identify when your SQL server is last restarted. Okay, today at 7:13 my TempDB is created. That means I just restarted or started my SQL server today at 7:13. This is the one way to find when the SQL server is last restarted. You can check the TempDB data stamp, date and time stamp. Okay, you can check the TempDB date and time stamp so that you can easily identify when your SQL server last restarted or last started. Okay, guys. So this is the a very common point of TempDB. So whenever a TempDB, whenever you restart the SQL server, always a fresh TempDB will be created. Now I asked you one question related to the model database. Now can you compare model and TempDB? Now can you tell me the answer? If my model database is corrupted, can I start my SQL server?
No,
Why no?
sir, because it is acting like RAM, no, sir, processing the data.
Which one? Now I'm not asking TempDB. Okay, I'm asking about model database. If my model database is not working, of course, if TempDB is not working, your SQL server won't start. That's for sure. Okay, master model TempDB. If any of these three system databases are resource also, if any of the four system databases are not working properly, your server won't start. I'm asking about model. If my model is corrupted, can I start my SQL server? Compare with the TempDB properties. And tell me the answer why.
Sir, model means template, sir.
Template,
Whenever
very
we
good.
create a database, it will act like template. That means
Correct.
default sizes will be taken. These
Okay.
sizes, I think these sizes are directly dependent upon RAM, no sir. It is processing.
No, no, don't tell RAM and all. RAM is different. Okay, you cannot. If you whatever things you are explaining to me, the same things again you will explain to the interviewer. I'm just giving an example that TempDB will act as a RAM. Okay, don't tell that is a RAM and all. It's not a RAM. Will
Yeah,
act as a RAM.
yeah,
Just want to give
yeah.
you a reference. Yeah.
So whenever this new temp DB will create, so it will require default parameters now, so that we will
Very
take
good.
from model database. So
Super,
because of
super.
that, it is
Super,
required.
super guys. Okay. So always, just now we discussed one point. Whenever you restart the SQL server, a new template will be created. But how it knows what is the data file size, log file size of TempDB? Even TempDB is also new database, right? If any new database has to be created, it depends upon your model database. If it is physically like if it is permanently existed like master model, master MSDB and all, okay, no issues. But every time it is creating new, then how it knows what is the default path where I have to create it, how it knows what is the default size of the data file, how it knows what is the auto growth. Okay, all these things will comes from the model database. If model is down, you cannot get all these things while creating, so you cannot create the tempdb. So if tempdb is not there, SQL server won't start, guys. Is it clear, everyone? Everyone, is it clear?
Sir, one more time explain, sir.
No problem. Now tell me when the tempdb will be created. When it will be created generally?
Sir, when we give any transaction, then
It will be created.
yes.
Did
When
we
we
discuss
start
like
Database is
SQL
that?
created.
Server,
Yes. If we start or restart the SQL server, then template will be created. This
yeah,
point is clear, right, everyone?
yes,
Clear.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
while creating, you will get a doubt, or the template will get a doubt. What is my initial size of the database data file? What is the initial size of my log file? Where I have to create my data files and log files? In which location I have to create all this data? Where it can get, from where it can get this data? All this data from where it can get?
From model.
From model, right? This
yes,
data, all this data, it can get from the model database. But model is corrupted. Model is not responding to the tempdb query. Model is, hey tempdb, please let me know what is my initial size of the data file. Please let me know what is the initial size of my log file. Please let me know in which location I have to create data files and log files. Let me know, model, please. Requesting the tempdb, requesting tempdb to the model. Model saying, no, chalo, chalo, go. I don't tell you. But or else simply model is not responding. Model is corrupted, so it was not responding. It is unable to give the inputs to the tempdb. Then what happened? Then tempdb will be created.
no,
No, no.
No, right? Why?
no,
Because
No.
model, if
model
model
is not
responding,
supporting.
yeah, if
Yeah,
model responding or if model is available, if model is online, it can give whatever details it want. But model is not online, model is corrupted. So it cannot get the details from the model. So automatically your tempdb can't start. So as a basic principle, if there is no tempdb, there is no SQL server. So your SQL server also won't start.
That
Clear,
means,
guys?
sir,
1 minute, please. Yeah, you can ask your question. Okay.
that means
Hello?
TempDB will help to create that default values.
Yes, someone is asking that about Basha.
Yes, sir. The temp DB will be helps to create that values, no, sir. That
Yes,
model
correct.
default
Correct.
values.
Correct.
Sir, now I got it.
Even any questions, guys? Is it clear why I cannot start the SQL server or SQL server can't be started if my model is corrupted? Why? Is it clear now, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, done. Okay.
Yes.
So that is all about your 4 system databases, guys. We have one more system database called resource. Okay. 1 minute, guys. I'll be back 1 minute. Right. Okay. Done. So the next system
One more doubt,
database.
sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, in the organization, will we take the backup of temp DB before it's restored?
Very good question. Okay. I just want to tell you one point, very important point. You cannot take the TempDB backup. Okay. You cannot take the TempDB backup. Why means unsorted data will be there, which is not in a sorted order. Okay. So there is no, that's what temp means temporary, right? It will store the data temporarily. Don't know at what moment the data will be gone. Okay. So it is not a permanent data to take the backups whenever we want. Okay. At this point, some data will be there. In the next minute, it won't be there. It might be deleted once the transaction is completed. Once the data processing is done. So you don't store the data permanently, so you cannot take the backup of the TempDB. Very good. I just forgot to inform you about this very important point. On all the system databases, you can take the backup, but you cannot take the backup of TempDB, as TempDB will store the data temporarily and unsorted data also.
It just helps to process the data. That's it.
Correct. That's it. That's it. Any questions, please? Chalo. Resource database, what resource database will do? Resource database, okay, is like a wife and husband, okay, master and resource. Master, okay, let me go like this, okay, master loves resource, okay, or for the better idea, why only love? Let's go with marriage also, okay. Master weds resource, okay. So master and resource database, whatever data it is storing in the master database, the same data will be stored in the resource database. The master database data will be stored logically. In the resource database data will be stored physically. Okay. Resource database also responsible for patching related things. If you see here, okay, you can see it's an RTM, right? If you run select at version, right, you can see the SQL server version is an RTM version. You can see here, right? RTM means what? The first copy of the SQL server 2017, which hasn't been applied any updates till now. We haven't applied any updates on this SQL Server till now. This is the first SQL Server 2017 copy I was installed in my Windows machine. I haven't applied any updates, any type of updates I haven't applied till now. So if you apply, okay, if you apply some updates, that is called patching. You will do patching, right, regularly in your phone. You will update your apps, right? Updating an app is called a patching. Okay, you are applying the updates. Okay, so that is called patching. In the same way, this is the SQL Server 2017 first copy. We haven't applied any updates till now. If you apply the updates, the third number and fourth number is going to be changed, that we discussed during the introduction classes. Right, the third number and fourth number will be responsible for patching the SQL servers. I mean, like patching means once you patch the SQL server, The third number and fourth number will be changed. Actual bill number and revision history will be changed, right? So this will be controlled by the resource database. This will be controlled by the resource database. Apart from the master, whatever data will be stored in the master. Guys, give me 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. I'll do that. Sorry for that, guys. Again, I'll take the break. Right, okay. All right. So whatever data you're storing, or whatever data that is storing in the master database, usually it will store logically, like all the logins information, SQL Server metadata, all the SQL Server configuration related information, all the settings of the SQL Server will be stored in the master database logically, right? The same information will be stored in the resource database physically, and resource database is also responsible for, okay, applying the updates and all. Your actually resource database version will be changed when you apply the updates. Okay, that comes under bill number, guys, right? So without master there is no resource, without resource there is no master. That's why wife and husband. Okay, resource and master database both are wife and husband. Okay, why? Because master will depends on resource, resource will depends on master. So all the data will be stored, which is storing in the master database logically, the same data will be stored in the resource database physically. And because of security reasons, okay, what happened? Because of the security reasons, Microsoft, okay, it just separated the resource database from the regular databases, and just it kept in a separate path called bin folder. Guys, 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, I'm free now. Right. Right. So in the bin folder, you go inside the bin folder. That's why you can see, okay, resource database data file and resource database log file, guys. Any questions on the system databases? Any
The
questions,
system,
guys?
sir,
Mhm.
this master database will store only the information in logical form. The same
Yes.
logical form will be stored in
Same
physical
data will
form
be stored. Yeah, same data will be stored, okay, in the resource database physically. Right? Any other questions?
Is there any default sizes for system databases?
Usually you can see here 8 MB, 8 MB kind of thing. Okay. No need to remember that system default sizes of system databases and all. No one will ask you. They might ask you like, now can you tell me? There is an interview question. Okay. If you restart the SQL server, in which order the system databases will start? That is an interview question. If you restart the SQL server, in which order the system databases will start? First, which system database will start? Then which system database will start? I need the answer. That's okay. We'll discuss. Let's reconnect, guys. It is showing 1 minute. Let's reconnect again with the same link.